This is a Clouds Weather Alert.
Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center with an update on the potential tornado outbreak as we get out toward areas. Mississippi, they are involved right now with tornado warnings, even a little sliver of Louisiana with a tornado warning here as well. I know we've had several tornado warnings out toward even the Monroe area and many tornado warnings across Louisiana this afternoon. Not a lot of confirmed tornadic activity necessarily in terms of the damage report, but there has been some of that here as we go ahead and zoom on in. I know this is a situation that might be a little harder to verify initially because I know similar to maybe what happened in Iowa in December there, we had a situation where the tornadic activity kind of spun on up there pretty quickly, but did produce damage, and it's maybe a little harder to discern from the straight line wind damage that can happen with a very long squall line like what we're seeing. I'm going to go ahead and back this up that you can see the one report we had a little while ago toward Richland Parish there in Louisiana. You can see two semi-trucks blowing on their sides along I-20 there. Getting some of those type of reports, and you even see wind reports out ahead of the line as well. I mean, even out toward our region here, I'll bat this up. You'll be able to see some of these icons pop on. Gust there and toward Jacksonville, where we cover primarily 40 miles an hour a little while ago. Just kind of showing the overall wind pattern that we're dealing with. And these storms here definitely can take advantage of that and rotate and produce damaging, destructive winds to the surface. So we have to just kind of be mindful of what can happen here. We'll continue to watch what's going on as we go on up toward the north. I know there's even a tornado warning now north of Memphis. This is in eastern Arkansas as we're looking southeast of Jonesboro. I know earlier in western Arkansas, very early this morning, there was a tornado touchdown there, it seems, around Springdale. So definitely nasty. I know we were kind of in a lull a moment ago. We were down to just one tornado warning polygon, but now back up to 4 tornado warning polygons, with 3 of them being down toward the south here, with this cluster coming in from parts of Arkansas and Louisiana, kind of moving out of the Arkla mist and more in toward that Greenville, Jackson, Television Market area there. Those 2 different areas. As we're getting the latest information in right now on what's happening. If you see me looking over to the side, that's what I'm doing here. Getting some of the latest information in so I can kind of give you guys an idea of what's happening. I know there's a Boeing surge, really surges along the line, and that's going to prompt a new tornado warning downstream there in Mississippi for Sequina, Sharkey, and Washington counties. So that's something they have to deal with there in the ward parts of that state, as we have a moderate risk. We just got this updated, so let me go ahead and see, guys, this is a red area on the board here. You can see a 15% tornado risk here in play. This is significant, folks, something we don't deal with very often while we're coming on with a special report. Kind of an unusual situation because this could be a pretty long-term setup where we get these spin-up tornadoes that could be in that strong range, EF2 even, maybe EF3, something that effect in an isolated case. So gotta be careful. A very large area where that strong tornado potential does reside, as you can see it with that mapping there. And does kind of clip our areas here as we get towards sunrise. This goes through 8 a.m. You can see Albany, Tallahassee around sunrise or so is likely when we're going to be getting into some of the worst of the action here in toward that area. But you see off toward the west, again, the red, this is a moderate tornado risk, folks. Just kind of flipping through some of the colors here. Flipping through some of the colors, you can kind of see what we're talking about with the scenario at large. I mean, this is going to be a destructive evening. It's important to watch this local affiliate. It's not necessarily something we're going to stay on for continuously, maybe breaking into something really catches our eye, but we're going to try to focus maybe even more so on that threat here early tomorrow morning, even before he enters into our area, maybe out toward Pensacola and southern Alabama, depending on how violent the threat ends up getting. We might come on early. Generally like to just come on when we start getting that threat in our western counties, but might jump on because it's unusually high risk here for areas in the western Florida panhandle toward Pensacola there toward Milton, even to Phoenix Springs. I mean, a strong tornado can't be ruled out overnight. A dangerous time. Panama City, Mariana here, and again, it just kind of drops off toward the east. But right now, tornado warnings in play. We're up to 5. As you see another one popping up closer toward the Missouri border. I think this does include parts of the heartland there, southeastern parts of Greene County and eastern Arkansas, and southern Dunklin County there in southeastern Missouri. So we're watching the threat here carefully. Paragould, Kennett, seen it there, Cardwell, Hornersville, kind of get the idea of some of these areas, as this is a very extensive line. Let me just go ahead and see you guys this here right now. We'll go ahead and see the line formation. I mean, it's going up past St. Louis here. You see the tornado watches extending all the way to the coast, and this line gets all the way into the Gulf of Mexico here, folks. Something you don't see very often. So more of the line formation with the embedded tornadic activity, though, they can be stronger sometimes versus the actual isolated storms, the supercells that are could be capable of producing a more violent type tornado, an EF4, EF5, but definitely can be dangerous, deadly. Mobile homes are in a danger zone here for sure. We really need to be careful with what's happening out here toward the west, because things definitely can be nasty in nature. You see tornado watches on the board right now. You see toward the heartland, southern Illinois, Indiana there, Kentucky. That's one watch. This watch to the north here. We do have, in fact, 4 tornado watches on the board. The one to the farthest north here goes to 10 o'clock Central Time. Getting further down toward the south, toward Memphis, this watch goes to 8 o'clock Central Time. And then we have a 3rd and 4th watch. The 3rd watch off toward the westward areas there, further back in southern Louisiana to 7 o'clock Central, and New Orleans, it just got impacted there. Parts of that area, metro, getting impacted last week till 9 o'clock Central Time. So the threat, even though there's no necessarily tornado warning down there right now, it goes for a while here, folks, and we gotta have folks staying on guard. Gotta have folks staying on guard here. As you can see, the risk area definitely in play, and that risk is going to continue in toward that Thursday morning as well. But let's go ahead and see right now some tornado safety tips. These are always important to go over here in the Weather Center. When there's a tornado watch in play, you want to make sure you chart other devices. You want to make sure you have multiple ways to get alerts, and that'll apply even for parts of our area. Again, the threat does lower as we get further east, but still got to be ready to take shelter. There's a tornado warning, as you see, consider inside that 30 building, getting as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and protecting yourself from flying debris by putting on a bicycle helmet. I know even this morning toward southeast Texas, there was a tornado warning. Wasn't even a marginal risk, so things can still develop here. Severe weather parameters on that isolated scale don't necessarily take into account what the outlooks are showing, obviously. So weather is going to do what it's going to do. So you got to remain on guard, obviously. This is the enhanced Vegeta scale. So when I'm talking about stronger tornadoes here, folks, I'm talking about EF2 or higher. And when I talk about more violent type tornadoes, I'm talking more EF4, EF5 here. So I know the last event we didn't really have anything to that range. May not get that this time, but of course, EF2, EF3 can ultimately be very problematic. I mean, EF3 happened toward Albany there 5 years ago on that Sunday afternoon. EF3 toward Adel as well. So kind of telling that weather story here for sure. And again, I'm looking over to the side, checking in with the latest from the Weather Service. If you see me kind of looking over, new severe thunderstorm warning for areas there in toward it looks like Louisiana, Mississippi there till 4 o'clock Central Time, and an update on tornado warning for parts of Madison, Issaquah, Starkey, Warren, and Yazoo, and then severe thunderstorm warning continuing into toward Missouri, Butler County, Missouri right now. Just some of the different updates we're getting here at the present time. But here's our risk here after 8 a.m. tomorrow. I know you guys maybe watching locally want to know what the latest outlook is showing, and here is it. Here it is. You can see the slight risk here: Albany, Valdosta, Brunswick, St. Mary's, Tallahassee, Lake City. But you see Lake Butler and Stark isn't necessarily in that, but it didn't really mean anything on the micro scale. On the macro scale, it does, but the line isn't necessarily going to break up once it goes across the county boundaries. It just kind of depends on what's happening at the present time. It could break up a little bit later on, could end up having some severe warnings further over into north central Florida and the first coast. That could be problematic, even because these storms could cause some damage. So we got to stay on guard here, got to stay weather aware, obviously, as we continue to watch what's going on. We'll go back on over to our maps right now. We're up to, it looks like right now, 5 tornado warnings. And then we have another mapping system we can go to right now. So let me do that. I know it's been a very busy day off toward the west, toward the Arklamis. I know KTVE and KARD, that duopoly there, has been on the air for hours, and this is starting to leave out of their area, move out of their area, but moving more again toward Mississippi. And as again, them out there covering that situation, doing a great job. You can see here, though, as we get into toward Mississippi, toward Issaquena County, you can kind of see what's going on, getting toward Sharkey County there. You can see Vicksburg under severe thunderstorm warning toward Vicksburg right now, but this severe thunderstorm warning, it does have a tornado possible tag in it here. So something could spin up with little or no advance warnings. We have these little embedded areas of rotation, but more of the greens and reds coming together toward the north here. So gotta continue to watch what's happening here as we cross over from the Monroe area there. You see Monroe and Ouachita Parish there. Up toward the west, you see a report there in Franklin Parish of a roof blown off in mobile home along Louisiana Highway 555 there near, it looks like Crowville there. So kind of giving you guys an idea of what's been happening off toward the west, and that threat is in that 4 out of 5 range further off toward the east here. So we're going to have to continue to watch and know. Let me go ahead and put some of the information here. You can see that red area here, folks. I mean, you see Jackson, Meridian, Quitman, Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Macomb, up toward Tupelo, Starkville, Oxford, Memphis. You see further up, you see Jackson, Tennessee as well. Even Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Montgomery, Crestview in Florida, Pensacola. Just giving you guys an idea of this large area covered. This is a very unusually large, moderate risk area, 4 out of 5 on the scale. So we need folks to remain weather aware and watch those local affiliates, as they'll be the ones to guide you through this situation on that microscale level. I mean, as much as I can cover these areas, I try to cover these areas, but this is a situation where sometimes the local affiliates, like what we'll be doing here tomorrow for our local area, they do the best job kind of giving you guys frame by frame looks at things here on what's happening down that lower end type level. So I know you guys have clutter.com/radar for a look at things, but again, in terms of that coverage area here, I'm going to go ahead and pop that up right now. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up right now. You can see here, this is when we're always on here for the 62 counties, and whenever there's a tornado warning storm moving through one of these zones, we're on to keep you, your friends, and your family safe. And that could be happening here early tomorrow morning. May even, like I say, jump on earlier because of that. There may be a stronger tornado if that really does look like it's materializing off toward the Florida Panhandle, western Florida Panhandle, and over area toward southern Alabama. That's a bigger deal on a national level even. So we have to continue to watch that here as we look ahead in toward the timeline. So we'll have to continue to do that. But let me go ahead and zoom on out right now. Just trying to give you guys the latest, of course, as you saw that risk here tomorrow afternoon. That's going to translate more off toward north central Florida, and even further off, it's going to kind of slow down later on in the period and weekend on off before clearing out on Friday, coming back maybe with some type of storminess on Saturday, impacting the Strawberry Festival there potentially, unfortunately. And then also the Clay County Fair there could be impacted, springtime Tallahassee. So I just got to kind of keep those events in mind. I know checking here right now to see if there's anything else going on. I'm going to go ahead and continue to watch the situation. I know right now, News for Thunderstorm Warning did just come out there from the office in Paducah. This is for parts there. It looks like New Madrid and Stoddard counties until 4:15 Central Time. So got to continue to watch that situation, even up toward the heartland. We have the parameters of this line's really come together now. Not severe up toward St. Genevieve, but you see here, you see some of the higher reflectivity values here and going down toward Fredericktown. I'm going to go all the way up here just a little bit more in southern Illinois and then take a little tour. I mean, this is, folks, in Illinois. We'll just go down this line here a little bit. Maybe kind of hard to do. It's going to be jumping around. You see Kaufman, Libertyville. This is Missouri. I'm going to go pretty quick, but Fredericktown, you see some more watches in play. You see this line, folks. You see our warnings here in southern Missouri toward Poplar Bluff, toward areas in Arkansas. Now we're looking with this line. You see Marmaduke there. You see Arkansas communities like Lake City with some of this storminess impacting them. Getting on further down now toward the south. I mean, just kind of giving you guys that tour. Greenville, Mississippi. You see the tornado warnings here in Mississippi. Getting all the way down here, folks, toward the coast ultimately. Still have a little ways to go, but Natchez there, with the storminess in play. Opelousas there. You can kind of see as we're now down toward the coast. I mean, this is an extensive line. It doesn't generally necessarily last this long in terms of length a line, but that's what we're dealing with right now. As you get up there measuring that out, that is getting us here 500 and something miles, and this line here expected to hold together to some extent before it starts to break down closer toward our area tomorrow morning, but still some type of threats remaining here, and there's tornado threat, could have a tornado watch in play toward Tallahassee, Albany. By the time you're waking up, maybe already some warnings even in some of those western counties. So it'll be important in some of those far western counties to have ways to get alerts overnight as we're looking ahead toward the timeline. Even toward Tallahassee, Albany might not be a bad idea if this kind of speeds up, slows down, because sometimes we've seen an issue with this line kind of speeding up or slowing down on us here pretty unexpectedly in comparison to model guidance. So we have to just be on guard for things kind of shifting around just a little bit here. And we'll, of course, get you through it. I'm more concerned, though, again, I want to emphasize this in case we don't come back on until when the storms are really moving in toward these areas. But Pensacola, Mobile, it's really important, you guys, have ways to get alerts overnight. Atmore, Alabama, zoom in real tight here, folks. You see Bruden there, Andalusia, Enterprise. I mean, even out toward areas there, Ozark, Dothan. These areas really need to have ways to get alerts overnight because this could be a dangerous nocturnal event, and we need people to be watching this there. I mean, whether Service Tallahassee talking about, they have some different things they use for their area, which is more toward the time at Panama City, Dothan, and their central time zone area that they're seeing an overlap with some of the parameters that they generally don't see necessarily. So we really need folks to be on guard here and paying attention because this could have dangerous consequences in some isolated spots. So we'll have to continue to watch the situation. Again, the threat is supposed to kind of lower some as they get toward our zones. That's still the anticipation there. But you do see here at Blakely, kind of Fort Gaines, technically under that 10% risk there for tornado, but you can't focus on the lines like that. But just continue to watch here, continue to monitor things. We're down to 3 tornado warnings right now. We'll go ahead and leave you for now, but if we need to come back on, we will. I will leave the radar up for a little bit, though, so you guys have an idea of what's going on here as we continue to watch things. I know, let's see, and some new information kind of stream on in, but right now tornado warnings do continue. And with the red boxes now, any purple boxes that pop up, and we had some of that earlier towards Louisiana, that means a confirmed tornado. Obviously, if you have purple with some of that black striping around that, that's actually indicative of a tornado emergency, which that's something we like to break in for and do special coverage up here on the different platforms. Yellow boxes, there were thunderstorm warnings, dark green, flash flood warnings here. But right now, the 3 tornado warnings in play. One of them there for Bolivar County, Mississippi until about, it looks like 3:45 local time, 4 o'clock local time as we get toward Madison, Issaquena, Sharkey, Warren, and White Yazoo. And then about 4 o'clock local time, Humphreys, Issaquena, Sharkey, Sunflower, Washington, and Yazoo as well. So some different areas to spin along this line as we have those parameters coming into play here. You can see some of the energy values here overlapping, but then our tornado parameters, they extend up and down this line for a ways, eventually kind of dropping off further up toward the north. But once you have all these parameters in play, we're going to be on guard here for things evolving in this line here that could be dangerous. The turbulent atmosphere in play, we're going to keep you updated here. Of course, we'll be watching our local area primarily, but any national stories that arise will come on here if they're really significant and bringing the latest, talking mainly about a tornado emergency situation, but of course, we'll play it by ear. Thanks so much for tuning in for now as we see 2 reports. A report of 2 trees down there along Sea Island Drive on Eagle Lake in Warren County, Mississippi. We're going to go ahead and put on our radar look at things right now and wrap up the coverage for the time being. Thanks so much for tuning in.